yesterday, Kamala Harris does a 60-minute interview. Now, to be fair, this was an actual interview.
Yes.
The host would not let her get away with anything. He followed up with the questions back to back to back. I'm going to show a clip. I think we're going to go through 3 of them. One of them has to do about immigration. One of them has to do when he asks if you own a gun. And you should see her face when he asks the follow-up question, have you ever used it? I mean, you have to see the way she answers the question. And there's a couple other ones that she gets very uncomfortable, but he does a phenomenal job in this interview. And I have my own reasons why I believe he is pushing as hard as he is, but we'll have here plenty of commentary. So let's get right into it, Rob. Which one do you want to start off with first?
Would you like the child tax credit, the border issue?
Let's start off with the border first. Go
and
for
this
it.
is Bill Whitaker, by the way.
This is Bill Whitaker from
Philly.
60 Minutes. Go for it.
Rob's stomping ground.
The border for years.
Watch this expression.
And so I know this is not a problem that started with your administration.
Correct.
But there was an historic flood of undocumented immigrants coming across the border the first 3 years of your administration. As a matter of fact, arrivals quadrupled from the last year of President Trump. Was it a mistake to loosen the immigration policies as much as you did?
It's a long-standing problem. And solutions are at hand. And from day one, literally, we have been offering solutions.
What I was asking was it a mistake to kind of allow that flood to happen in the first place?
I think the policies that we have been proposing are about fixing a problem, not promoting a problem. Okay?
But the numbers did quadruple.
And the
under
numbers
your
today,
watch.
because of what we have done, we have cut the flow of illegal immigration by half.
But should you
We
have
have
done
cut
that?
the
Should you
flow
have
of
done that?
fentanyl by
She's not
half.
letting them
But
answer the
we
question.
need Congress to be able to act to actually fix the problem.
Tom, how do you process this with her being pushed?
Well, I think the media has been taking a lot of heat. There were 2 debates where the media took heat. I mean, let's face it. We don't need to go into detail, but the president debate, the VP debate, the media's taken heat for being a lapdog of the left. And what you have here is 60 Minutes. And Bill Whitaker, if you know Bill Whitaker's history, he's a straight up guy. You know, he's got his slant left, but he's been a straight up interviewer. And that's typically the history of the 60 Minute staff. And what I see here is there's a lot of cuts in here and there's a lot of edits, but he is trying to get her to answer the question for the American people, and I applaud what he did. And when you look at her reaction, she's angry. You could tell that was anger and that was reaction coming out there. And she's trying to do what all politicians do, that she's not very unique at, but trying to, well, we need, and we need Congress. And so when you get the hands waving and the restarting of sentences and bringing in third topics, which is what she was doing, you know, she's got no answer. So I gave her a screaming F on that. And he's trying to follow up and get her to answer the question. That's how I process this. And I was shocked that it was allowed to go out on broadcast like this. I would have thought that CBS would have stepped on it, suppressed it, or spun it differently. But I actually, you know, was favorably impressed with Bill Whitaker.
Vinny.
Yeah, I was impressed too. I don't think, Tom, that she got the questions beforehand. That looks like a genuine upset. Like, how dare you question me when you know that I failed so bad? I think it's, I don't want to say day late, dollar short, but we've had 4 years and now it's like everything is falling apart. You know what I mean? The wheels are off and now they're starting to come around. But it's a good question, Pat. Why are they letting this air so late? Why would they let her get exposed like this so late?
It's actually not late because there's still 3.5 weeks left. So trust me, the news cycle right now, by tomorrow, but not by tomorrow, by Thursday, you forgot about this. It's done. Mm-hmm. Everything right now is jab, and you just have to survive these jabs. Now, this is a good hook. You got caught.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not a joke. By the way, go play the next clip, Rob, about flipping positions. Go play the clip about flipping positions where, do you have that one or no? Where she's kind of like, is this the one?
It is.
Go ahead and play the clip. Watch this.
Tell you what your
This is probably the
critics
best
and
one.
the columnists
Hands down.
say.
Watch this.
Okay.
They say that the reason so many voters don't know you is that you have changed your position on so many things. You were against fracking, now you're for it. You supported looser immigration policies. Now you're tightening them up. You were for Medicare for all. Now you're not. So many that people don't truly know what you believe or what you stand for. And I know you've heard that.
In the last 4 years, I have been Vice President of the United States. And I have been traveling our country. And I have been listening to folks and seeking what is possible in terms of common ground. I believe in building consensus. We are a diverse people, geographically, regionally, in terms of where we are in our backgrounds. And what the American people do want is that we have leaders who can build consensus, where we can figure out compromise and understand it's not a bad thing, as long as you don't compromise your values, to find common sense solutions. And that has been my approach.
Tom.
That's weak. That's like she's running for mayor. I hear mayor and governor candidates that do a better job of spinning back to, we all know what the problem is. We got to get to consensus and serve the people. Meanwhile, the people are saying, well, wait. Let's get back to the question. Tell me what you're going to do about that, because I'm very interested in it. That was weak. That was
Adam. What do you think?
I see mayor candidates do a better job spinning back.
So she can run and hide all she wants from the border, but the Biden-Harris administration has to own that problem. I mean, just look at the stats. I mean, whatever number you come up with is very believable. 10 million, 15 million, 20, whatever the number is, it's kind of like just come on in. But we hear the term, oh, he's a puppet, she's a puppet. Oh, they're not really the ones running the government. They're a puppet. Well, this is a living, breathing example of an actual puppet. She didn't earn this nomination. If Biden was able to walk upstairs and formulate sentences, he would still be the nominee. She was coronated to basically usurp Biden, and he reluctantly sort of exited stage left after Nancy Pelosi told him that he was ruining the down ballot ticket after the Obamas of the world.
Adam, what do you think about what she said here?
Well, what I'm saying is that she's not saying anything. She doesn't have policy perspective. She doesn't have anything tangible to run on. She's just repeating talking points. And if you saw over the weekend, her teleprompter went out.
Yeah.
And she froze. She's like,
32.
Play that
What
clip, Ron.
do I do now?
You saw the life come out of her eyes because she's like, I don't know how to do
She can't avoid
Watch
the
this.
economy. She
Play
can't
this
avoid
clip.
inflation. And she can't avoid not knowing what she's talking
Remember
about.
his
Go ahead.
number, 32. Today we got 32 days until the election.
Oh, God. Ready?
And the teleprompter goes out now. 32, man.
32 days.
32 days.
32 days.
Jeopardy song.
Okay, we got some business to do.
No, she's getting
All right.
hip hop.
32 days.
You don't have the ability to tell
And
a
we
story.
know
Just tell
we
a story.
will do it.
We will do it.
Put the sheep around her. So many sheep.
And this is going to be a very tight race until the very end. This is going to be a very tight race
That is
until the very end. We are the
Because
underdogs.
you can pause it right there. What happens when you're in a conversation with a world leader and the conversation goes in a direction you did not expect? What do you think they're going to do? You think they're going to give you questions in advance when you're meeting with G?
Nope.
You think they're going to give you questions in advance when you meet with, a Putin, or if you choose to meet with Putin or any of these guys? No, you're not. So then the question becomes, either the people that say you're just a puppet are right, or you're just not qualified for the job. Rob, play the clip about, which one is this? Is this the Glock?
No, this is the Glock, though. This clip.
Play the Glock clip. Watch this. This is funny.
You recently surprised people when you said that you are a gun owner. And then if someone came into your
That
house,
was not the first time I've
They would get
talked
shot.
about it. That's not the first time I've talked about it.
so what kind of gun do you own, and when and why did you get it?
I have a Glock, and I've had it for quite some time. And I mean, look, Bill, my background is in law enforcement, and
that's right.
so there you go.
Have you ever fired it?
Yes, of course I have.
In my apartment.
At a shooting range.
Oh, okay.
Yes, of course I have.
By the way, you know when somebody asks you have a gun, it's kind of like this. Ask me, you have a car.
Yeah.
Ask me.
Do you have a car?
I do.
Okay, what kind is it?
I have a Ford.
Okay, what kind of Ford, though? What?
No, but I have a Ford.
I understand that, Pat, but what kind of
Do you ever
Ford?
drive your Ford?
Is it a Mustang?
Of course I drive my Ford.
At a shooting range? You drove your Ford at a shooting
No,
range?
I drive my Ford in a freeway like everybody else.
yeah.
By the way, that is the...
Well, we're in Dallas, sir. You only
who
have
the hell
tollways.
says I have a Glock?
Yeah.
So hold on. Do you think she's lying about having a gun?
I don't
because
think-
I don't think this serves her constituency. It's not
She
like
doesn't-
it's not like the single cat ladies are like
Do you
yes.
believe she owns... You think...
I don't believe whatever you're about to say.
No.
The answer is no.
But do you believe...
I don't believe her.
Do you believe she owns a Glock?
I don't think that's something you just make up. You think that is?
I don't.
Glock is, by
Oh.
the way, if you go back and you think about guns from hip hop, rap,
Yeah.
you'll hear Glock.
She grew up- she grew up with Tupac.
Right. So do you believe she owns a gun?
Absolutely not. And guess this is how easy the world is, guys. Show me a photo of you holding a gun. That's all you have to do. Just show me. No, I don't believe
Okay,
her.
so-
I would have been like me and you. We have guns. I would like, yo, Glock 9mm. I have the.
There she is, bro. That's a believable photo. Everyone knows that. Hello.
Oh, so she does. That's
Oh
it.
yeah,
Let's move on.
guys. Yo,
Let's move on.
Why would this would this be a
Because
talking point she
that's
wants to endorse?
What she's trying to do,
Mm-hmm.
here's what she's trying to do. She used to be not for fracking. Now she is. She used to be about taking your guns if necessary. Now she's owns a Glock and she shoots it all
Yep.
the time at a range, apparently. She used to be against, she used to be for high taxes. Now she's all about entrepreneurs. And she says, I'm a capitalist. She said that yesterday on 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
I'm a true capitalist. Listen, it's not a good look. Nobody believes you. No one believes you.
Can I say one thing, though, Pat?
Yeah, go
The
for it.
scary thing, I don't want to say sad. The scary thing is people are believing her. And that's how she is right now leading in the national polls. And that's what's
But
insane.
who? The people, here's a question.
Yeah.
The people that matter, do they believe her?
That's
Like,
what-
I'm talking about the people that are going to matter in the election. Like right now, if you go to vtnews.ai,
Yep.
Rob, if you just go to VT News, click on the homepage, okay? This is the homepage. If you go on vtnews.ai and you can go to the bottom right, okay, and click on the election in the U.S., click on that and go to it, zoom out, right here, okay? As of right now, this is right now, the national poll shows she's ahead by 1.4, okay? But if you go to Arizona, click on Arizona,
By the way,
it tells
1.4 is
you
not good.
Trump's up. Look at all those places Trump's up. These are many different polls. Tom, you want to break this down for everybody and go one by one?
Yeah, what we do, VT Analytics, we pull together polling data. We look at the background. We want polls that are recent from pollsters, liberal pollsters, conservative pollsters, but we want the ones that have shown themselves to be more accurate in the 2020 election and the 2022 midterm elections. So we pull those most recent. We put the dates up, the margin of error, all the data up there. And right now, Arizona, 2.7 for Trump on the most recent polls. That's what we see. You go to Georgia, it's going to be much tighter, Rob. And Rob can just step through these battleground sets. Georgia is dead tied, at least according to the current polls. Michigan, as you would expect, out there ruled Trump. Sliver. Nevada with all the union right now, we think that's hers.
She's
but
winning
then you go
Nevada.
to North Carolina. Now that's another story there because it's 1.3 up, but we have a lot of voters, unfortunately,
Wait,
that
Tom,
are tragically
why is
impacted.
Atlas Intel, who is the most accurate last time, why are they saying Harris is up 2.4 in North Carolina?
Atlas Intel's is pulling out the stops, and they did, as you take a look at it, 1,173, and they also said that it was a full margin of error of 3, so that's anywhere from 0.6 for Trump, 0.4 for Harris, but Atlas Intel is, you go take a look at what they pulled, and they pulled one that was more urban, it's a little more urban, but that's what we're looking at.
But Tom, you didn't answer my question. Here's what I'm asking. Atlas Intel, that last time had the smallest margin of error over everybody. CNN had the worst, LA Times had the worst, WAPO had the Post worse. Atlas Intel is saying that she's up 2.4 in Carolina. That's a lot of credibility for these guys. These are not a left-wing place.
That's right. We accept that poll because we know North Carolina and Georgia are going to be close.
Okay, so go to the next one, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, this one, we actually are in lines up with, you see the most recent of all of these is
Yep.
the Emerson and the Trafalgar. Trafalgar, 926 and 929. That's Trump 3. We believe, especially after what you've seen over the weekend. We're anxious to see the new polls coming out of Pennsylvania after the big rally. But we're putting them all up there. The
And
good.
go Wisconsin. Go to Wisconsin to see what that looks like. And in Wisconsin is going Harris. And even we believe that as well.
Tom, was Pennsylvania normally Democratic?
Pennsylvania,
swing
by the way, thank you for asking that. That's not a planted question. I'll give you the answer. Pennsylvania is increasingly becoming purple. If you look at the last 3 elections and you look at central Pennsylvania and the suburbs that are around Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, there is more Hispanic and black vote heading conservative. And so Pennsylvania has been becoming purple. And people are saying right now that it is light purple. It is not the blue stronghold that it was for 5 elections prior to 2016.
Well, can I give you just a little perspective? You said earlier, well, it seems like she's pulling ahead, or, it seems like it's breaking through. It's actually not. I always follow the Vegas polls. For the first time in almost 2 months, Trump has finally pulled ahead of Kamala in terms of Vegas. I'm not sure what this one is, but it's been neck and neck this entire time, but he's basically inching a little bit higher. Now, you've seen how Kamala, Rob, I sent you this on Wall Street Journal. How Kamala's like, I was working class family.
Yeah. Yes.
With
I
the
was
front
born in
lawn.
the working class. Well, in a ironic twist, the number one story in the Wall Street Journal right now is Kamala Harris struggling to break through with the working class. And her inner circle is basically saying, we need to do better. Crucial states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, which we just discussed, basically it's not coalescing how they basically wanted her to do this.
Or historically.
Or historically, exactly. So I don't know. Is this her ceiling is my question. After the 60 minutes, essentially a debacle, has she peaked? We'll find out.
Well, there's a lot of discussion on the strategy that they're putting in place. Why is she going? She is not speaking to her own people this week. She is bouncing around on comedy podcasts. They are looking for other groups of voters at the edge. And I happen to think on one hand, I kind of laugh at the strategy that I see that she's putting forth this week. But on the other hand, because I'm like, why would you go on that podcast? My gosh, why don't you go on a podcast that talks about substance and at least gives people from the middle an opportunity to talk? Instead, you go on Call Her Daddy.
You're questioning
Give me a break.
Why she would do that?
Well, she's doing that
podcast?
Trying to get to different groups of voters.
Is this her asking why you agreed to do
She's
this?
with Alex Cooper, right?
Yes, this is why you agreed to do this podcast.
Go for it.
I'm curious, you don't do too many long form interviews. What made you want to do Call Her Daddy today?
Well, I think you and your listeners have really got this thing right, which is one of the best ways to communicate with people is to be real, and to talk about the things that people really care about. What I love about what you do is that your voice in your show is really about your listeners. And I think especially now, this is a moment in the country and in life where people really want to know they're seen and heard and that they're part of a community. That they're not out there alone.
Did you see her on
Well, I mean, getting real is important. What you really didn't do at the border, what you really did with Willie Brown, what you're really talking about here, how you're really flip-flopping to look like Trump.
Rob, go to
We
the
can talk
last
about
clip
real.
with economy. Go to the last clip with economy, and then we'll move on to the next topic with Musk and Tucker.
My plan is about saying that when you invest in small businesses, you invest in the middle class, and you strengthen America's economy. Small businesses are part of the backbone of America's economy.
But pardon me, Madam Vice President, the question was, how are you going to pay for it?
Well, one of the things is I'm going to make sure that the richest among us who can afford it pay their fair share in taxes. It is not right that teachers and nurses and firefighters are paying a higher tax rate than billionaires and the biggest corporations. And I plan on making that fair.
But we're dealing with the real world here.
But the real world includes...
How are you going to get this through Congress?
I talk to people.
When you talk quietly with a lot of folks in Congress, they know exactly what I'm talking about because their constituents know exactly what I'm talking about. Their constituents are those firefighters and teachers and nurses.
She talks quietly to people in Congress, not out loud. Quietly. By the way, she was on Stephen Colbert as well, Pat. You want to talk about cringe? because she's doing those rounds, like he said. Call Her Daddy, Stephen Colbert. Have you seen this? This is just brace yourself for the level of cringe. And listen to him. Obviously, he's a leftist shill, but check this one out, Pat.
What is it that is, to coin a phrase, great about America, and that kindles your love for it?
To use Kindle.
There's so much. There's so much. And you're right. And I have the blessing and privilege of traveling all over our country. And in particular, in these years where we have witnessed so-called leaders attempting to create division between us, I meet people who are just the people who are the ones who are the most optimistic.
I got it. I mean, the point is, but when you go back to the economy point, when he's asking her about economy, how are you going to get it done? Like, this isn't lip service. How are you going to get it done? And she does not have an answer.
No, she said she's going to just take billionaires and millionaires and just tax the hell out of them.
Right.
That's what's your goal.
Tom, any final thoughts on this before we move on?
Yeah, I do. And I would like to go back to CBS for a second. CBS is sitting number 3 in the ratings. On an average night, ABC gets almost 8 million viewers, NBC 6, and CBS barely 4.2. So they're literally in third place. And they took it in the chops after Margaret Brennan looked so terrible and Norah O'Donnell, who is the lead host of the debate, looked less than terrible, but still really bad. CBS took a lot of heat for that. And at the end of the day, CBS also needs to think about CBS. They're running a business. And I think, and 60 Minutes, CBS, I think they came out on this, and Bill Whitaker, and they're trying to show journalistic integrity. And I think that's what they were trying to do. Now, they all have a relapse tomorrow morning and they get back to cheering for one side. But I was thinking about this a little bit more strategically and thinking about just CBS and as a business, Pat, and thinking this is where CBS has to come back up and say, man, we got to show America that they should be watching us because they're not getting viewers.
So let me ask you, what is the chance that 60 Minutes is going to apologize to Trump for not talking about the Hunter Biden laptop and saying it was wrong?
Minus 4,000%.
Okay, and what's the chances that they think that Trump's going to see this and say they were tough on her, that now I'll agree to come and be on 60 Minutes?
I think they're trying to bait him that way, yes.
Wow. I agree. That's why I think this was a tough interview, because you know what it is at the end of the day? You know what wins at the end of the day that makes everybody honest? Here's what wins at the end of the day. If you don't get ratings and people are not watching what you're doing, you're out of business. And if you're not getting eyeballs, people sit there and say, your customers are not happy. They will go elsewhere. You can keep doing these bogus interviews. No one likes you. They're going to go to somebody that's doing real interviews. Ratings are real. Customers are the most important voters in America. Period. You can say whatever you want. They're not going to change. Let me go to another. Let me give you guys an update here about election night. So election night, that's coming up November 5th. It's going to be the biggest party in the country, minus the one that Trump and Kamala host together. I have 4 guests that I'm announcing that are now going to be at the election night with us. We're going to have some of the old timers that are coming back. So those guys are going to come back no matter what. They'll be with us while we go live on the podcast from 7 p.m. to 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe even later. It's going to be one of those marathons. And by the way, it's so awesome seeing other people who are business podcasts are now saying, we're going to host a live event as well. No problem. We like to lead people. We're leaders amongst leaders, and it's exciting. But ours will be a kick-ass event that we put together here. Here's who's going to be here with us. You got Brian Callen will be here. You got Sammy Gravano will be here to give his take from a mob's perspective. You got Michael Francis that will be here. You got Dave Smith that will be here and many other names, but I'm going to drop it to you every podcast who else is going to come here. So don't be the person that's waiting till last minute when this thing sells out and then you're saying, but I couldn't get a ticket. By the way, the super VIPs will get a chance to meet all the speakers. Why? Because all the super VIPs will be going there to eat. So watch this video, Rob, put it on 1.25, and then we'll get into all the stories. Here's a new building and where the party will be held at. Go ahead.
I got a big announcement to make. Property I'm on right now. We've been working on buying this property for the last 3 years. It's one of its last kind in America. Why? It's on 11 acres. It's got 2 hangars. It's on an airport. Upgrades of $7 million made here. That's going to be the new headquarters of Valuetainment Media, David Consulting, the podcast, the whole 9. And what we wanted to do, we want to find a way to celebrate this as a new headquarters with inviting you to an event on November 5th, which is election night. A lot of different things people will be talking about, business owners. What's going to happen if it goes this way? What's going to happen if it goes that way? So imagine 2,000 people being here. Let me show you around. Some of you will have a private meeting with me. That's the elite. That's going to be a few of you. Some will get a private tour of the entire office from us. There's a hangar in the back. So you come up here. Imagine there's going to be a couple major tents, 40 feet by 100 feet, where some of the people that are buying general tickets will be there. But over here inside the hangar is where the podcast will be held. This entire thing will be open like it is right now. Inside of it, myself, the PBD podcast crew, some of the super VIPs will be invited to go upstairs in a section that we have that's got a bar, a restaurant, food, kitchen. You're eating, you're watching it from all the way up there while we're doing the podcast down here in the hangar. So imagine in this room, there's 1,000 people, right? While we're going through this whole thing. Conversation, it's going to be from 6 p.m. is when it starts, all the way up to 2 o'clock in the morning. Who knows? Maybe we'll go 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because a lot of things that's going to be going on. And by the way, do you know why we're not cutting this? We're on an airport. These are planes. We have to hear because right here is the airport. And FYI, messy place right there at that stadium right behind us. There's 5 ticket tiers that you can purchase. Each one's got more things to offer. But even locally, there's general tickets to buy for just $75. Bring your wife, bring your husband, bring your family, bring your friends. There's one caveat after you buy the ticket. When you buy the ticket and you come on November 5th, you have to wear Future Looks Bright gear. I'm talking Future Looks Bright hat, a shirt. Doesn't matter. You're going to have to show I got some kind of Future Looks Bright gear because we want everybody here to spread the message and the energy of optimism around the world, back to their states, wherever you're going to be. So November 5th, click on the link above or below. Get registered. And if you're watching this saying, well, Pat, I like to travel private. Can I bring my private jet here? 5 of you guys will be. After you buy your ticket, then you can ask us. And that's only available to the tickets at the highest level possible to bring your jet and park it here. So having said that, get your tickets. And I cannot wait to see you November 5th, 6 p.m. at our new headquarters in Fort Lauderdale. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye.
I dare you to miss it. No, I'm telling you right now. I dare you. I'm telling you to your face. I dare you to miss it. For 4 years, you're going to say, I will never miss it again. Because the next one we do like this is 4 years from now, like the World Cup, which will be in 2028. I dare you to miss it. For those of you guys that are wise and smart enough to know what's going to happen and the crazy stuff that we're going to be covering, you'll be attending. And we can't wait to have you guys there. We cannot wait to spend the entire night with you, your friends, your family together, all night talking about what's going to happen in 2025 and on. So, Rob, put the link below for people to go get registered. If you're listening to this online, go to 5990live.com, go to events, purchase a ticket, and we'll see you there.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.